record my half of the conversation? Okay, so what I did there, you got to do too, which is, do I have your consent to record my half of the conversation? And the reason you ask this is you're testing, just like vagina. Do you like how everything is vagina? And money. So when I ask you for consent, a person who doesn't know what they're talking about would say, no, no consent. And then you're like, I don't need your consent to record my half of the conversation. Does that make sense? Like, I can record, like I'm talking and there's no context, there's no name, it's just me talking on a half a conversation. But the reason it's important is it puts a timestamp to things that we agree with. For example, Perry's circa $22 lunch only, no non-alcoholic drink. You said you would give me an alcoholic drink that's like $17, but I said, oh well, thanks for offering, I'm actually gonna not even drink a non-alcoholic drink. And do you see how like the details get incredibly detailed, but then I get to say what I heard, and now I've time-stamped it. And I'm using that as an example, not because I think you're gonna welch or renege on your commitment, but that's just why it's valuable to record. Does, right? And so how are you trying to get new business for this? Do you have a freemium model? Do you have any like outreach? Have you ever heard of Marketing Sherpa? Yeah, just type in Larry Chang Marketing Sherpa or Marketing Sherpa Larry Chang. And my last name is Chiang. Did Renata, did you reach out to Renata after we hung out on Sunday late afternoon? Oh, right. Cool. Is that freaking amazing? So what you want to do is you want to start speaking at conferences that charge kind of a lot of money, and you want to mentor CMOs, and then you want to find something where you're an expert. That in triple. But then I get that you may not be an expert, but at least interview a person who wrote a book. And so that way you get to start to speak at these conferences. Don't do a podcast. Do you already have a podcast? Yeah. Just do it on YouTube or on Insta, and just do it like that's barely a podcast. So that way you do like one a quarter, or like you post it on Twitter. Don't tell me you don't have a Twitter account. Okay. What have been a couple of books that you've read that have helped you with marketing agency? Eckhart Tolle. It's called Power of What? Power of what? Okay. Right. Then how does that apply? How do But then how does that apply to marketing agency? It applies to running a grocery store. Okay, so yeah, do you see how like that's why I interrupted you because none of that was helpful. Do you see what I'm saying? And remember, you're paying me $22 fucking dollars, and I'm gonna get you that ROI before Friday, so that way I won't be eating with like indigestion of like you not making that. Do you see how like none of that really was like I read this book and I made this money? Because that's kind of where you need to be if you're gonna be friends with me. Do you see what I'm saying? Yeah, yeah. So what's another book? Let me give you an example. Would that help? Okay, so I read the book What They Don't Teach at Harvard Business School, and I read the book The Ultimate Credit Handbook. And those two books together, what'd you say? No, and this is and this is perfect because I'm quoting my mentor's book, and people can't hear the difference between Stanford and Harvard because I said what they don't teach you at Harvard Business School. I'm positive that I did not make that mistake. So I'm promoting my mentor's book, and this is how my book got on the New York Times bestseller, and it just pissed more people off because they inverted Stanford and Harvard, and it was with Mark Zuckerberg's mom in the room. Okay, it's crazy. It's not just with her in the room, okay? With Zuck demanding that I post a selfie of him and his mom because we're in a picture together. Where Zuck's like, post that because it's at New York Fashion Week and I want a cool mom. Like, think about that. Like, think about, it's like, it's beyond legendary shit. And it's in a photo album called New York Fashion Week. Nobody fucked anything up. Oh, that happened. You just switched it. And I'm talking to you. Imagine if, and that's not funny. But that's not funny. Do you see what I'm saying? Because it's sort of funny. I mean, it's funny, but it's also marching towards The Ultimate Credit Handbook by Jerry Jetweiler, where those two books I combined to do Duck 9 is two books, where I took two books and I just hammered and rehammered those books, whereas like you're casually intellectualizing a non-related book into brand, where what like how does brand make money? And it's, I get how it makes money at the $4 billion level, but I don't really see how that's the best initial book. So maybe What They Don't Teach You at Harvard Business School would be a book. Because my book, like, you gotta assemble my book. And then people are like, oh, but like, your book doesn't exist. I'm like, there's 63,000 tweets about chapter 6 that I front ran Sam Altman, the founder of ChatGPT, like on September 14, 2015. He asked the question, hey, what's the shit in chapter 6? He asked it slightly differently, but basically that's what he asked. And I'm like, bro, and everybody that was in my little circle who talks hashtags, bro, 63,000 tweets, boom, already dropped on top of your head, and he didn't delete the tweet. To his credit, actually. Because he asked, who's going to teach CS183D? Because Peter Thiel, do you know Peter Thiel? It doesn't matter. He taught A. You do or you don't. It doesn't matter. So then Sam Altman, ChatGPT founder, he taught B as in boy. And as soon as they announced at the local school, oh, he's going to teach B, I'm like, I'm doing C, I'm doing D, I'm doing E, I'm doing every letter of the alphabet because you VCs are like distracted Asperger's people. Yeah, so that's chapter 6 of what they don't teach you at Stanford Business School, which is chapter 6 and 5 of what they don't teach at Harvard Business School. So everyone's just like, hey, you're a fraud. I'm like, thank you for telling me more information about you than information about me. So let's study buddy what they don't teach at Harvard Business School. I think it's $13. What else do you want to do? Marketing agency. How do you? What's your like? What's your pitch now? To do what? Do you know how many? Do you know how many? Do you know how many like? Do you know how many digital marketing agencies there are? Okay, so how are you? Are you talking about? Are you talking about like $600, or you're talking about like $100,000? So is this like? Is this a few $1,000s like $3,000 total? Okay, but do you see how like you're talking as if you're like this $1 million thing, and you almost tricked me because I was thinking that. But you're using language, but you're using language like. Uh, you're using language like. Uh, you're using language like this has got a $4 million run rate. So how many dollars? I I heard it. I heard it that way. So like that's I heard it that way. So you're talking. Okay, so our time is incredibly valuable on the phone, and do you see how like you're almost swaying it to have me help you do this endeavor that is not going to I don't even want to say scale. It's not even going to increase because doubling doubling $5,000 to be $8,000 is going to take a lot of work when you're asking non-digital marketing agencies to explore digital, because digital's been around for like 15 years. Okay, so now, so because what you're trying to do is you're trying to do a mooch partnership. Okay, now, yeah, but that's kind of not good unless you've been able to get a lot of mooch partnerships. So is this like less than like $10,000 total? So that way we can move on to this topic. Okay, you're comfortable with what? You're comfortable with what? No, 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 no. Do you see how like it's a simple question, which is how much in dollars were you able to get off of the mooch partnership situation? Okay, there you go. Do you see how like that took freaking forever? Because my next question is a horrible question, which is where did you go to college? And there you go. Do you see how like now we're on the train going not to getting $22 of return on investment? Do you see what I'm saying? Because it was like pulling teeth to get to that. Whereas and then also your scarcity mindset is not a person that like is hey, you know, I want to pick your brain because I want to not necessarily get rich, but I want to like do work and then kind of be free because it's just as easy to make more money as it is less money. And do you see how like then your language started to like go into like some really good excuse of oh I think 150 blah 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 or whatever you're saying that was spitting nowhere. Just like this conversation right now is not going anywhere. Where I had to ask the college. Do you see? Do you, how do you? I get that. Okay. What what do you think is going to happen? What do you think I want to have happen at at coffee downgraded from lunch? What do you think I want to have happen? Yeah. No. And do you see how like you're a dude, heterosexual, homosexual, it doesn't matter, okay? I don't need a dude telling me that I'm awesome. Where do I get that validation from? You brought up my ego. Where do you think that ego gets validated? Not from dudes, not from. There you go. What'd you say? What? Why would I go to women in my workplace? You brought it together, which you don't ever mix. Those they don't even need to be in the same paragraph. Like those two things aren't even in the same like realm. Like it's literally two different worlds that never cross, right? Or do you not kind of see that that would be a disaster? Okay, just checking to see if like the brain's on. So no, that's not that. That's not that what you said. It is to hear that you had an agenda and then that your agenda is something measurable. And so that way I can say I knew you back when you used to be the old person. And it's not an ego thing where you're going to show up and tell me I'm great. In fact, if anything, there's a risk. What are my risks? There you go. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Also, there's the liability of like you you get mentored to do things and then not that you don't do them, but that like uh, something just misfires. Where I'm like, why did I even take that? Why did I even take that meeting? Where there is literally no financial upside. This is also why I'm wanting to meet up. My goal for this year is to not make more money because I'm really good at that. My goal is to make more friends. And I'm not saying that you and I are going to be friends, but like, that was my goal. and to be open to like new friends. Uh, so that was my goal. But the downside is the work and the trying to be legendary and doing more legendary shit, and ends up just taking over because that's just who I am at the core. Okay, set all that aside. So marketing agency, what would it take to double your business without working harder? Like, what would it take to double your business? Because I said it earlier, we just got away from it. Wasn't it? Wasn't it speaking at conferences? In fact, this is so this is our agenda. It's a 1 point agenda. And do you feel like you've gotten your $22 of ROI before the meeting? Okay. Well, let's try to lock it in by what 2 conferences, if you spoke at, would help you not double your business, but get you 30K more in revenue, where you spend 0K to get the 30K. That's a goal, right? Spend 0, make 30. Is that an okay goal? Oh, sorry, spend $22 and make 30K. Is that a good? Okay, so are you going to spend some time with shopping for, what are you going to shop for on the internet? You're going to shop for a work conference that's on marketing, that if you spoke at it, you would, there you go. That's what you're shopping for. That's what you're researching. That's what you're hunting. That's what you're researching. That's what this agenda is. And I think it's guacamole, either recipe number 11 or 4. And then there's another hashtag, which is EUTWMPPM. I want to meet with you to stroke my ego for a hetero dude to tell me I'm great. My God. Oh my God. And like, not that you're not a celebrity, okay? But if like a celebrity tells me I'm great and it doesn't move my ego needle, where I'm gonna just be like, oh, can you say that again? I'm gonna post it on Insta. Like, my ego comes from reading and conjuring up money from nothing, and then reading fast, and then celebrating the fact that somebody took 10 years to write one good book, or wrote 10 books and really only has 1 or 2 really good books, and I read his life's work. And now I own it, and then I quote it, and then I do it, and then I cite it, and then I do it some more. Like, that's an ego boost. Doing. It's not a testimonial from, like, although this is how I gamify it, is I do thank people that kind of never helped me, and then everybody wants to help me, and that's chapter 8 of Mark McCormack, Karma. Karma can be tracked, measured, and channeled. Basically, you make your own luck. So yeah, shop for 2 conferences. The hashtag, do you need that hashtag again? You didn't ask me to repeat it. Did you get it the first time? Good job. It's on Twitter. It's the initials for Engineer Up a Tidal Wave of Momentum Perpetual Promotion Machine. EUTWMPPM.